Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure trio unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at all three main characters from GTA 5, made by CC Toys. Now these were sent to me as review samples. I've not been asked to only say good things though. As always, all opinions are 100% my own. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new 1/6 scale figure review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, they have kept it pretty simple. We have an image of each figure's head sculpt front and center and just a plain grey background. Down below, Mike, Frank and Trevon. Yeah. CC Toys, I know these are third party, but I think you could have just called him Trev. Trevon seems like a really weird choice to me. We also have a Losanto version in the middle. Does that mean at some point they were considering alternative versions? We'll never know because these are the only ones they actually ended up releasing. Going with this dark grey and green colour combo with this pinstripe over the top for the sides of the boxes, then their names running down the middle, it's subdued, but I do like it though. I'm just weirded out still by the choice of Trevon. What were they thinking? You know what? Maybe they were just having a bit of fun with it, who knows? Around the back, their names up top, and then the same warnings and legal information printed across all three boxes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the artwork itself feels very premium. It's got this almost satin finish to it. And then the cardboard is very thick and sturdy. Interesting. So it seems like there are some shared accessories down below and with the guns and the C4 charge, but there are some unique ones as well, and there's even more stuff underneath these top layers. Starting off with Michael, so far so good. I'm liking the feel in hand, and also that head sculpt is looking pretty strong actually. Now I am worried about Franklin. Based on the box art, his head sculpt does look a touch soft, and yeah, first-in-hand impressions do confirm that. We will go into a lot more detail a little bit later on. As for Trevor, he's probably the one I'm most excited about. Trevor is one crazy MF, and having a Trevor figure in 1/6 scale now to terrorize all the other figures in the collection, yes, I don't mind if I do. First-in-hand impressions for him, also pretty good. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of their accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything they come with. Now, it does look like there's a shitload of stuff here, and quantity-wise there is. Most of it is the same, it's just reused between all three figures. So if you are getting all three of them, you will find a lot of the same stuff between the releases. There are, however, some unique accessories, which I alluded to in the unboxing segment. Starting off with the display bases first, they are the same for all three of these guys, just plain black rectangles. They're also quite low profile, so they're not going to add a ton of height in the display. Then up top, an adjustable crotch grabber. So all three of these guys come with the exact same baseball bat. And by the way, Michael's accessories, Franklin's accessories, Trevor's accessories. The print on the surface does a convincing job of making this look like wood, whereas of course it isn't. It's all sculpted plastic. You do get the exact same empty bottle of whiskey with all three, so I guess they've all had a bit of a swig of their bottles. It says whiskey and vintage on the label, which is starting to peel, unfortunately. Up top, a little bit of black paint for the lid. I'm pretty sure you can tell, but we're going through the shared accessories first, and then we'll move on to the unique ones, the ones that I'm most excited about. You do get the same revolver with all three of them. It's gunmetal up top, then black for the handle with a pop of gold for the rivet, and you can open up the loading chamber and it rotates in the middle. Now, for the 1911, this is probably one of the most basic 1/6 scale guns I've ever seen. You can't actuate the top slide, nor can you remove the magazine. The sculpt work is okay, a little bit soft, and the paint applications without any silver dry brushing or even a different colour for this port, quite straightforward. This though, the C4 charge, I do like, because the strapping over the top that's supposed to hold it all together is real fabric, and the screen is properly printed on the surface. It says armed. So you do get three of them. If you want to make a little stack of C4 as though they're breaking into a bank or something doing a heist, you can totally do that. Speaking of heists, you do get some accessories for that, a balaclava for each of them that they can wear, and a massive duffel bag. I'm always a fan of figures that come with big bags that do have real opening pockets, because you can use this to hold their accessories. So instead of having to go back to the box or an accessory tub, for example, to change out an accessory or a pose, they'll already have their own accessories on them. It's just built-in accessory storage. Can't get enough of that. All of these pockets can open, and there's some padding on the inside. It's bubble wrap for some reason. There's this clear window on the sides, and the straps are adjustable if you so choose. They do all come with a stack of money, and the bills are printed on both sides, and they are individual too. So if you wanted to remove them and have them just littered around the display base, that is an option. I think for my display, I'm going to have them just sticking out the edges of the bags to make it look like they're full of cash. They don't actually have to be, it's just going to be an illusion, as though they're completely stuffed with bills. We're almost there, we're getting to the unique accessories, I promise. Now, Michael comes with 1 shotgun, Franklin comes with 2 for some odd reason, and Trevor again comes with 1. There aren't any moving parts on this, just like the Browning High Power or 1911, it's quite basic. It's done in gunmetal and black. You do have this little hook around the front, but no strap to actually use with that, nor the hook around the back. Okay, unique accessory time. So for Michael, you get an M16. Nothing moves here, it's done in gunmetal, there's not even any black to contrast this time. It is quite sturdy feeling though, so I suppose ditching all of the moving parts and pieces has made this thing even more solid. Franklin's unique accessory comes in the form of a swap-out interchangeable jacket. Instead of giving him a specific weapon or something, he comes with both shotguns though. You get this Letterman jacket, which I do like, and we will be trying on him a little bit later. Trevor actually comes with the most unique accessories, starting off with this dress. The bra area is padded, and there's a zipper down the back, so yes, he can wear this. And yes, we will be trying it too. You then get this little Casio watch with a fully printed screen, and I particularly like the bubble effect over the top, making it look like an actual teeny screen. The strap is more of a rubbery material as well, so getting this onto his wrist peg should be quite straightforward. Oh yeah, absolutely. This AK is my favourite weapon of the bunch. Going with the contrasting tan and gunmetal colour scheme, but then doing washes in the crevices to bring out the sculpt work, this might be one of the best detailed weapons here. And there is nothing stopping you from accessory sharing. If you pick up all 3 of these guys and you want to have Trevor with the M16 and Michael with the AK, yeah, go for it. Okay, and the final unique accessory for Trevor is Mr. Raspberry Jam. This poor teddy bear, he went through some stuff in the game, and it looks like in 1/6 scale he has as well. It looks completely disgusting. He's got a divot where his eye used to be, there's some schmutz on the surface, his feet are contrasting, and he's got this bow and this pair of knickers around his body. Yes, I will be displaying this thing with Trevor, because why the hell not? And lastly, a full array of hands for each of them. Trevor's are slightly different compared to the other 2 though, we'll get there in just a second. You get open palm hands already installed on them out of the box, closed fists, baseball bat holding hands, and trigger finger hands. The detail is surprisingly good. We've got the wrinkling, we've got skin texture, they're this matte finish so they look realistic, and you've got some fingernails sculpted in. For Michael, they're more of a lighter skin tone, whereas for Franklin, they're a darker skin tone. Whereas for Trevor, he's got even more exaggerated trigger finger hands, and he's got some extra detail on his knuckles. As you can see, they spell out, fuck you. I'm really glad they included that detail because, yeah, it's accurate to the game. What we are going to do now, though, is get Michael, Franklin, and Trevor out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses, or accessories, or anything like that. All 3 of these guys being as different and unique as they are, somehow work standing alongside one another. We've got Michael in his almost ill-fitting, maybe made for a younger gentleman charcoal business suit. Then we've got Franklin in his youthful outfit with his white long sleeve shirt and his blue shirt over the top, 2 layers, who doesn't love that? And then Trevor, in whatever the hell he's wearing. I think that visually speaking, these guys are interesting enough to draw the eye in the collection, especially when you have them all standing together. Not to mention the overall quality of these figures is pretty good. CC Toys also made Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us, and I really like those figures. They might not be perfect, and I do have my favourite of the 3. Still, from a distance, they do look like the characters they're supposed to be. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Michael's head sculpt. I did allude to this earlier when I said that first-in-hand impressions are quite good, because they were. I think this is a solid head sculpt. Is it perfect? No. But I think that's to be expected. Translating a relatively old game model to a semi-realistic 1/6 scale figure is never easy, and I think CC Toys did a good job. I can see the likeness to Michael. He's got this 5 o'clock shadow down below with some sculpted hair over the top just to back up those paint applications. We also have this mole on one side, some crow's feet, and some frown lines. They've even gone so far as to make this an asymmetrical sculpt. Up top, the hairline is slightly higher on one side as compared to the other. Then the same thing with the left eyebrow, it's a little bit raised, making for a slightly more interesting expression. The hairline itself is clean with this feathered edge, and there's a decent level of sculpt work and flow to the hair itself. Now, he does come with an optional balaclava, but because this head sculpt is so strong, I personally won't be displaying it. It's still an option though. Is it though? I mean, if you're planning a heist with your figures, you want to have them displayed with the weapons and the bags and the cash, then maybe. For me, I just want to show off the head sculpt, and I'm worried that it's going to get stained from this black material being pushed up against it. This is a pretty tight balaclava. Also, in real life, when you have a balaclava on, because your hair is soft, it can squish it down and sit where it's supposed to. Whereas in 6 scale, he's got sculpted plastic hair, and it's quite tall, so it pushes the balaclava up, making it look spiky up top. The edge around the front is also not hemmed, so it will unfold and unravel if you don't spend some time futzing with it. Okay, yeah, much better. No balaclava for me. Maybe I'll just have him holding it if I decide to do some kind of heist display. I particularly like that the neck and the head sculpt is one piece, so it's completely seamless. If there was a cut there because the neck is highlighted by the open collar, I don't think it would have looked quite as good as it does. There is skin texture all the way down, and of course because it's one piece, the skin tone matches perfectly. Michael being the only figure of the 3 that doesn't come with an alternative outfit option, he is stuck wearing his suit. And I'm okay with that. In the game, I always had Michael wearing a suit, so this works for me. There is some shoulder padding up top that bulks him out a little, gives him this square edge to the shoulders, and there are some real buttons around the front. But he does have a significant amount of padding for his gut, giving him this almost dad bod look. So trying to do up these buttons, being real 1/6 scale buttons already being a challenge, then the padding on top of that, yeah, I don't think you're going to have much luck, so maybe just leave the jacket open. There is also some lining on the inside. It's done in this satin material. The shirt, just a plain white business shirt, and the collar is a little bit of a chore to work with. I found that if you tuck it underneath the top of the jacket, then it will sit in position. As you start to pose it, then maybe it'll work its way back out. You will have to do some futzing with this outfit. Same thing with the pants, you will have to mess around with them, just because they are pretty baggy, so yeah, they don't break at the perfect height on top of his business shoes. There is this crease down the front and some real pockets, so you can stuff some cash or a gun or the C4 or something in there if you want to. He also has this pleather belt up top with a real metal belt buckle. Now you can try and pull the pants up if you want to adjust the bottom here where they break, the height of them. He does have all of that padding like I just said, so trying to pull the pants over the top of that is a challenge. I think it's supposed to sit underneath the padding as though his gut is hanging over the top of his belt. Makes sense to me. He also doesn't have any socks on, so when you get to posing, if you don't have this excess fabric hanging down here, they will ride up and expose that bare plastic body. So maybe it is better to leave them hanging down slightly lower. The shoes are a satin finish, and you do have some stitching sculpted in with some sculpted laces, and some tread underneath. Alright, so Franklin's head sculpt I think is just okay. I can see what they were going for, I just can't get the likeness. I mean, maybe it's the angles or the lighting or something, or maybe it's me picturing Franklin in my mind's eye differently because it's been a while since I played the game. Still, I don't see Franklin here. I reckon the likeness is pretty weak. Out of the 3 head sculpts, this one is my least favourite. So if I was going to display a balaclava on one of them, maybe it would be on Franklin. The hair detail is good, there's some shading for the frown lines, and I do like the expression, Plus, the neck extending down to the shirt is quite realistic. Everything else, though, doesn't sell that Franklin likeness to me. Nor does this, though, of course, because all you can see now is Franklin's eyes. You have to rely on the outfit to do all the heavy lifting. And you still have to worry about the mask staining the head sculpt underneath. I am considering this option for Franklin just because, like I said, I don't love the head sculpt. Then again, seeing as I am going to have the other two without the balaclavas on, maybe I will just leave it off for Franklin as well. His outfit is quite simple. He's got this blue shirt on with these press studs down the front and some faux buttons. You get spares, by the way, so if you happen to have any of these fall off on you, you can just pop some new ones on. Some real pockets around the front. His collar sits nice and flat, and he's got this very stretchy fabric white long sleeve shirt underneath the blue one. Franklin does have a secondary outfit option, however. You know what? I actually really like this Letterman style jacket on him. In my collection, I am going to have him wear this. Now you can opt to remove this blue shirt if you want to. I just decided to keep it on to add some visual interest. Having multiple layers at play is never a bad thing. You also have a scorpion patch on one side, then on the other a D for some reason. Then around the back, it says Pounders All Stars. The main body of the jacket is made of this green suede-like material. You then have what would be the stretchy cinched sections around his waist, cuffs, and the collar. Then the sleeves are made of this white pleather material. I am worried about them flaking and creasing over time. Right now, they feel very nice and soft and supple, and you've got this leather green texture on the surface. Then you've got the real pockets on the side, so if you want to have his hands in them, totally doable. His pants, to me at least, read as though they're supposed to be black denim. We've got this textured weave over the top. They are quite stretchy and baggy, so they should be great for posing. But my favourite detail has got to be the contrasting stitching. You've got red and white stitching down below, along the sides for the pockets and for the fly. Then underneath these layers up top, he does have a real belt just like Michael's one. Down below, he's wearing some Timberlands. Now they're not branded as such, but we all know what they're supposed to be. All the eyelets are painted, the laces too, the black strip along the top, and you've got some sculpted tread. So we've gone from Michael, who I think is middle of the road, quite solid, to Franklin, who I think is a step down from Michael, to Trevor, who is my favourite of the three. This head sculpt is 100% Trevor. He's got the scars and the scratches. He also has this intensity to the expression, especially when you tilt that head sculpt forward. And this crazy, wacky hairdo. I mean, he's bald, you've got some little strips, you've also got a bald patch around the back, and this little piece of hair on the front for some reason. They've also detailed the frown lines, and he's got these massive dimples down the front, which sells that scowl. He does have a separate neck compared to the body though, and the skin tone is slightly off. It's not enough to throw off the entire thing for me, but it's just something to be aware of. The reason they did this is number one, for maximum range of motion, and number two, because his shirt is so low cut, they wanted all of this detail on the neck to pop through. Whereas if it was a fixed neck head sculpt, there'd be a massive crevice down below for the ball joint. Now that they've done this, way more detail, way more musculature, and they've printed the cut here tattoo around his neck, which is very sharp, and I'm glad it made the cut. I'm so sorry. Dude, Trevor with the balaclava on, he looks so freaking mean. Because the balaclava follows the intense brow expression, it just works perfectly. And it covers up the seam around his neck, but it hides the tattoo. Trevor's body being the most unique of the three, his proportions are slightly different compared to the other two. His neck, to me, comes across a little bit long. It's not terrible, and it's certainly not enough to throw off the entire figure. It's just something you're going to have to work with when it comes to posing or futzing with the outfit. You can pop his fur collar, and that does kind of mitigate the long neck issue. His outfit is perfect for Trevor. What do I mean by that? Well, A, it's ragtag as hell, nobody should go out looking like this, and B, it is absolutely disgusting. It is covered in dirt and grime. The jacket is meant to be a denim jacket. You've got the contrasting yellow stitching that maybe used to be yellow in certain areas, but certainly not anymore because you can see how filthy it is. And you've got some real pockets. Plus the fur lining to the edge, which also looks kind of gross. But underneath that, it's the white t-shirt that sells it. This thing is completely disheveled. It is filthy. Got some blood stains, the collar is just sagging all the way down, and you've got some little holes here and there. Underneath the shirt, he does have a fully detailed body, and Trevor is jacked, it seems, because he's got some abs under there. I know we discussed this in the accessory segment, I just want to mention it one more time, because this little attention to detail, on point. He's got FU across his knuckles. Oh, and one more thing quickly, if you want to have his watch on, it does really nicely conceal that wrist peg, so if you have the sleeve down on this side, then the watch on the other, he looks completely seamless from head to toe. Even from the front, you can't see that cut around the bottom of his neck. His upper torso is filthy, but nowhere near as gross as his lower half. I mean, there is blood splatter absolutely everywhere. Maybe this is meant to be Trevor from the start of the game, where he curb stomps that guy and he's got arterial spray all over him. Possible. There's blood on the knees, on the thighs, pretty much everywhere. The pants themselves are quite baggy and stretchy, which should be really good for posing. Then down below, he's got these fashionable red leather boots on. There's this wash over the top, painted eyelets, and they are different sculpts compared to Franklin's. I am worried about the front angling up the way it does. Hopefully he can stand well. On the underside, you guessed it, just like the other two, some sculpted tread. Now, Trevor does have a secondary outfit option that I can already tell you I am never going to display, but let's try it out anyway. Oh no, this is something else. It's really awful. I would never have my Trevor wearing this outfit in the collection. Number one, his neck now looks way too long because you've lost all of that extra padding from the outfit. Number two, you can see all of the exposed joints. And number three, his legs aren't even sculpted and painted. This is bare, unpainted plastic. So I don't know why they included this outfit option. I don't think anyone should be using this. I'm pretty sure that this dress is from when you just randomly switch to Trevor every now and then and he's wearing this. I could be wrong. It might be one of the Strangers and Freaks missions. If you know, let me know down in the comments below. They've even gone so far as to add some white socks. Not sure why they added that, because like I said, the legs are completely unsculpted and painted. It's just this smooth, glossy, nasty looking plastic. Now that we have everything off, I do want to quickly mention this tattoo. We didn't see this before, of course, because everything was covered up. This, some great attention to detail. It's got R.I.P. Michael, brother, and then the year over the top. Some very sharp printing, and I'm glad they included this. Even if you're never gonna see it, because like I said, please, don't display your Trevor like this. For a quick side-by-side comparison, I don't think I've ever seen a more ragtag group of friends / bank robbers. We've got Michael in his business suit, a little bit more portly, an older gentleman who is in witness protection. Franklin in the middle, younger, the tallest of the three. And then of course, Trevor, who's just his own thing entirely. He's a bit of a wacko, but we love Trevor. In 1/6 scale, he's pretty much the same height as Michael, and that's okay with me. His proportions are different enough, and his body is completely unique, so he does stand out. Not to mention his outfit is completely disgusting, which I know, we've been through multiple times. You all know it is feral. Overall, I love the way these three look standing together. Going over articulation, starting off with Michael. His head sculpt is on a fixed neck with a ball joint down below. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, forward and back on soft ratchets mind you. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that also hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, and then the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Now there are two torso joints tucked underneath these layers, and there is some padding over the top, so it's slightly more restricted. Going forward to there, going back to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, pretty much unrestricted. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Ratcheted double bend at the knee going past 90. And lastly, for the ankles, they are double ball pegs, and combined with the low cut shoes, you get a ton of range of motion. Forward and back, swivel, and just all the ankle tilt. Next up, Franklin, who I'm pretty sure is on the exact same body as Michael. Starting off with his head sculpt, also a fixed neck with a ball joint down below, looking forward and back, swivel, and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there a little bit more because he doesn't have that suit jacket on with the padding for the shoulders. Going forward and back, also on soft ratchets. Butterfly joints at the shoulder that hinge up and down. Swivel at the bicep. Double bend at the elbow going past 90, and then for the wrist pegs, you guessed it, hinges and swivels. His torso, however, doesn't have all that padding over the top to give him that dad bod. So he does have more range of motion. Going forward, going back, swivel, and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee on soft ratchets, going past 90, and then double ball pegs for the ankles. Franklin is wearing pretty high-topped Timbs though, so he doesn't have as much range of motion as Michael. Forward and back, swivel, and a touch of ankle tilt. Trevor, being as unique as he is, of course, is on a completely different body to the other two. Starting off with his head sculpt, it's actually a split-cut design with the neck. It's rubbery with a double ball peg inside. Looking forward to there, looking up to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there, going forward and back on some very squeaky joints. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. So Trevor doesn't have a swivel at the bicep. The swivel comes in down here at the single bend elbow. It's a really sturdy joint, and you can also rotate it side to side. Whereas the wrist pegs, they're hinges and swivels. His torso will crunch forward and back, swivel, and pivot side to side. Trevor's trackies, being as baggy as they are, and they're nice and soft too, they afford maximum range of motion. Going forward to there the full way, of course, and going out to there. Swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee going past 90, and a double ball peg for the ankles. His boots are even taller than Franklin's, so he's got even less range of motion. We've gotten slightly worse for range of motion at the ankles as we've progressed through the releases. Going forward and back, swivel, and just a teeny amount of ankle tilt. Wrapping up on the third-party versions of Michael, Trevor, and Franklin from GTA 5, made by CC Toys. CC Toys do have a pretty good track record, but they're not quite up to the levels of, say for instance, Lim Toys, my favourite third-party company for video game figures. Although these releases, they're darn close, honestly. I really like all three of them. Franklin, though, is my least favourite, so let's start off with him. His proportions are good, love his outfit options, dig the accessories, but it's the head sculpt. That's the one thing that lets him down. You can always put the mask on, though, if you do want to hide the head sculpt. It's not terrible enough that I'm not going to display him, it's just not quite as good as the other two. Then we have Michael. He's got his business suit on, perfect outfit for him, and he's got another decent array of accessories, with one unique weapon. But the head sculpt is significantly stronger than Franklin. It actually looks like Michael. But my favourite of the bunch, you all know, is Trevor. He's a wild card in the game, and he's a wild card in 1/6 scale, because he comes with just the wackiest accessories. You get the bear, and you get the dress outfit, which doesn't even actually work on him. If you do put it on him, then you got those bare unpainted plastic legs. But that's exactly what you'd expect from Trevor. It makes no sense, but it's included anyway. And his head sculpt? By far the best of the three. The likeness is the strongest, and there is the most detail there with the cuts and scratches on his face. So the question is, will I be displaying these guys with the rest of my video game figures in the display? The answer? Pretty simply, hell yes, I will be. I'm a massive GTA fan. I remember back in the day when it came out, I had to convince my parents to buy the frickin' game for me because it was R18 down here in Australia. And then, of course, when I got the game, I stayed up till all hours of the night playing it after the midnight release. I spent way too much time playing GTA 5, and ever since I've continued to play it, replay it multiple times. So long story short, yeah, they're going in the collection, and I cannot wait to see what CC Toys does with these sculpts going forward. If they do have future versions planned with different outfits, count me in. Now, if you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.